Hang on a minute, can you smell burning? I can definitely smell burning. It smells like piles of burning Qurans to me in Denmark. So let's talk about that. Should we be burning religious texts, in specific Bibles, Qurans and the such like? Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus. Tonight we should be talking about burning religious texts, Qurans, Bibles, Torahs, these kind of things, and the reaction that we've had throughout Britain and in Europe. And the reason is Denmark recently passed a law in the last few days stating that there will be a 2-year maximum prison sentence and a large fine for anyone caught burning a religious text. Now it's obvious why they've done this. It's because a lot of Qurans were getting burned outside of the embassies of these Arab countries in response to certain things that have happened, so we'll talk about that later. But I want to focus on the burning of religious texts, and this will definitely be an unpopular opinion. I don't actually think that's a bad thing. Now hear me out here. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to rebel against religions that they feel are too controlling. That should be fine. But I don't think burning books in any form or shape or way is a good thing. I think about it, or you might not have had it. Well, when I was young, I went to private school, I was a posh boy, and I remember being taught about World War II and the Nazis, and we used to actually sneer at Hitler and his goons, the Nazis, because they used to burn Bibles and things like that, and we thought that shows a like a fragility, if you like, an inner weakness and fear, and they responded to this by burning Bibles. So I just thought to myself, what good did it do them? Like literally Nazis burning Bibles. In terms of how it worked out today, there's fucking no Nazis anywhere. I've never seen nor heard of a Nazi outside of Google, historical files. Whereas Christians are fucking everywhere. I became one myself. There's loads of us. So burning Bibles wasn't necessarily a good thing for the Nazis to be doing. It certainly wasn't the end of Christianity. So do I think burning Qurans is going to be a good idea? No, I don't. I've got 2 Qurans over there that I use for research purposes, so I can fairly criticise the parts of that religion which need to be criticised, but I can defend the parts which are good, which I feel don't need to be criticised and are unfairly targeted. But I couldn't do that if I didn't have those 2 books. I'd just be ignorant. And that's the conclusion I'm going to make in this video. Burning books you don't agree with shows a weakness in your mind and an ignorance to information, and that's why we should totally avoid it. Now I would say that because I'm a religious guy. I've got a Bible over there, I've got Talmuds, Torahs, I've got all the religious books over there. In fact, that's why I think I can say I am at least minimally educated on the different religious approaches that the people in this country take, normal British people. And I have no problem with nice, friendly, family Muslims that I've met. The Sunni Muslims of this country, in the main, the ones that I've met, have treated me well, they've been perfectly respectful and polite. And I respect the fact that they're religious and they take their religion and their faith very seriously. So I will defend their right to say, we don't like Qurans being burned. That's why it's going to be an unpopular opinion. But likewise, if someone was burning a Bible, I would have the same problem as if someone was burning a Quran, and I would say to them, when you burn that book, you're reminiscent of the ignorance shown by the Nazis in World War II, led by Hitler. Burning books is not something a democratic, morally correct person would ever do. So that says to me, Denmark, they're angry. They're acting out of snap judgment, fear and anger. They're not thinking straight. They're not doing the right thing. Whether they agree with these books or not doesn't matter. You don't need to burn them. Burning something is a physical sign. You're sending a message when you do that. You're sending a message that not only do you not want that thing in your country or anywhere near you, you're saying that's how bad you think it is. You think it should be burnt, even in a form of a paper book. And I don't see how that's going to lead to anything good, and it's only going to lead to more trouble and bad feeling between people who ultimately are going to need to figure out a way to get along in future if we are to go towards this paradisal future where all tribes, nations, cultures and faiths can get along and be democratic. That's what it comes down to, ladies, gents and Pikachus. If we really believe in our democracy, in the strength of our freedom of speech and our personal sovereignty, then we should be more than happy to own copies of these books so that we can learn about them and criticise them fairly and in the correct way. And likewise, if we're so terrified of these people and these things that we don't want to know and we are willing to live in ignorance and burn any sign or any recording of them, then it just shows that we have a weakness, we have a fragility in ourselves, and I'm not willing to accept that. I don't think democracy does have that weakness. I think that's been triggered. It's like a provocation. It's like my neighbour when he attacks me. He wants me to attack him back. He's baiting me out to do it so that he can go, see, I told you Jews were evil. It's provocation of the most obvious kind, and we should not fall for these things. So that's the end of this video. In conclusion, we shouldn't burn books, even ones we don't agree with, because it shows weakness and ignorance. And actually, I think, like I've done, if you've got any problem with the Quran, the first thing you need to do is go and buy one and read through it yourself and make videos on here and actually break down logically with facts and reasoning why it is you don't like these things, and then suggest ways to get past that without torching books or attacking people or stirring up racial tensions. And that's what this comes down to. Burning Qurans is stirring up racial tension where it is definitely not wanted or needed, and it doesn't do us any favours in the long run. So I hope I made a good case to you and you really thought about that, and you see the ignorance of burning any type of book, religious or otherwise. And you also see the reason and the strength of character that it shows if you can actually investigate and research and read these things first before you get led down the garden path by someone else telling you that you should be burning these things and cheering and prodding the burning pile of books with a pitchfork. It's just not the right thing to do, and it doesn't reflect us as a culture. We are a free, open, democratic culture, and we will take all comers, and if they cause us problems, we'll deal with those as and when. We don't need to be scared of the pages inside a book, even the Quran. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Ultimately, when you burn a Quran, you're burning the tolerance and the peace and the love of Muslims, whether you like to admit that or not, and I just don't think that's a good reflection of British culture. We're tolerant here, and we're kindly. So remember that, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.